Hello, Jason. I've transferred this month's living expenses as always. Please don't waste it. I used to call Jason at the end of every month to let him know about the money transfer. Being a boy, I thought he might find it annoying if I contacted him too often. Still, I wanted to hear his voice at least once a month. Thanks for the $10 every month. I've been eating beans every day. Wait, what? I transfer $1,000 every month. What? Both of us were puzzled. My bank book showed that I always transferred $1,000 to Jason's account as usual. So why did he think it was only a tenth of that amount? You can't do anything with just $10. But isn't your company struggling right now? What are you talking about? This year has been our best in terms of performance. If anything, I've been thinking about increasing the amount I send you. Upon hearing this, Jason expressed shock. I wondered who told him my business was in trouble. The blood rushed to my head as I tried to find out who spread such rumors. Jason, don't worry, I'll sort this out. Determined, I hung up the phone and planned to pick up Jason and head straight to the police. I was sure it was his doing. I won't forgive him. My name is Catherine. I'm a 49-year-old single mother. I divorced while I was pregnant. Ever since, I've raised my eldest son, Jason, all by myself. Thankfully, my family owns a business where I've been working hard to succeed. Thanks to that, life has been stable, and Jason has never had to experience any hardships. Jason has always been a very sincere child, although sometimes a bit scatterbrained. He consistently performed well academically. When my father fell ill during Jason's elementary school years, it inspired him to pursue medicine, leading him to intensive studies. As a result, he secured a place in a prestigious medical university. I was planning to cover all his college expenses, but thanks to his hard work, he received a tuition waiver, which greatly eased our financial burden. I've always been proud of my son's achievements and diligence. Given the distance from our home to the university, about 2 hours by train, I decided to let him live independently near the campus. He found a spot in a student dormitory, which houses students from various universities. While parents aren't allowed inside the dorm, other students helped Jason with moving in. It was sad not to see his room, but it was part of him growing up. For the first few days of his independent life, Jason kept in touch regularly. However, after a week, the communications became infrequent, and by the end of the month, I hardly heard from him. 1 week before the summer vacation began, Jason called. He spoke about enjoying his classes, starting a part-time job, and planning to come home during the summer break. I was relieved to hear him sounding so upbeat. He also asked if he could bring a friend home during the break. The boy was from the same student dormitory. During summer vacation, he said he was going to stay at the dorm alone since no one would be at his family home. That's when Jason invited him, suggesting, "Why not come to my house then?" Considering Jason has always been a bit shy around new people, he must have had a special fondness for this boy to invite him over like that. I accepted the proposal immediately. Hello, when summer holiday arrived, and Jason came home with his friend, I was left speechless. I had assumed he would look as reserved as Jason. However, the boy standing at our entrance had blue hair and numerous piercings in both ears. "You're welcome. So, are you Jason's mom? You're so beautiful. Bet you're popular, huh? Well, perhaps." Ignoring my evident discomfort, Lucas, Jason's friend, entered and promptly sat on the living room sofa. His presumptuous behavior made me want to speak out, but I restrained myself, remembering he was Jason's friend. Throughout his 3-day stay, Lucas consistently gave orders or suggestions to Jason. Every time, I felt uneasy. Yet, Jason didn't seem particularly bothered. "Hey, Jason, let's hit up an arcade." "There's no arcade nearby." "Man, that's boring." I wished he'd leave if he was so bored. In those 3 days, I grew to truly dislike Lucas. Because he was always clinging to Jason, I hardly got any time with my son. I felt our precious mother-son time was being intruded upon. And honestly, I wished Lucas would leave soon. In the end, he didn't just stay for the 3 days. He lingered until Jason returned to school, depriving me of any quality time with my son. After going back to his dormitory, Jason's communications became sporadic. However, he sent me a monthly update and thanks for the allowance. So, I believed he was doing all right as he was nearing adulthood. But come fall, unusually, I received a message from Jason in the middle of the month. Sorry, I've been a bit busy and haven't been able to work part-time. I can't pay my rent. Could you send me a little money? Is it because exams are approaching? But I don't appreciate overspending. I'll send it this time, but be careful from now on. Upon hearing that, Jason responded in a dejected voice. I'm really sorry. It was an uncharacteristic issue for the normally responsible Jason. And I had a hunch that somehow Lucas might be involved. Hey, is there something troubling you right now? I'm fine. Thank you, as always. Just don't push yourself too hard. And I understand. I was concerned by Jason's lack of spirit in his voice, but assumed he was just downcast because it was his first time having financial troubles. At the end of the following month, I called Jason. Hello, Jason, I've deposited your living expenses for this month. Don't waste it. I had a routine of calling Jason at the end of every month after making the transfer. Being a young man, I thought calling too often might annoy him. But I still wanted to hear his cheerful voice at least once a month. Thanks for the monthly $10 allowance. I've been eating beans every day. What? I've been transferring $1,000 every month. Wait, what? Both of us were puzzled by each other's words. My bank book clearly showed that I had, as always, transferred $1,000 to Jason's account. Why then did Jason think he was receiving only a tenth of that amount? You can't do much with just $10. But isn't your company going through tough times? What are you talking about? This year has been our best performance-wise. I've actually been thinking of increasing the amount I send you. Upon hearing my words, Jason let out a surprised, who had told him that my company was in danger? I wanted to find out who was spreading such rumors, and I felt a surge of anger. Jason, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. I ended the call, intending to head to where Jason was and subsequently report the matter to the police. I was sure that he was the culprit. I won't forgive him. I took a taxi from the nearest station and stopped near the student dormitory. Then I called Jason and told him to sneak out without anyone seeing him. Listen, make sure no one sees you. Why? Just trust me. Jason seemed unconvinced, but he still kept his promise and discreetly left the dormitory. As he turned the corner and approached the car, I was shocked by his appearance. Mom, it's been a while. Jason, what happened to you? You look, when I saw him in the summer, he was healthy. But now, he looks skeletal, a mere shadow of his former self. What on earth had happened? I hesitantly asked Jason. Jason, you've lost so much weight. What happened? At first, Jason tried to brush it off, but he eventually began explaining his current situation. Mom, after I went back from my visit, you sent me a new bank book, remember? Since then, the allowance you sent has been reduced to $10, right? I did struggle a lot, but Lucas had mentioned during my visit that you talked about closing down the company. So I thought maybe things were tough for you. I was stunned to hear this. I had no recollection of discussing such a thing with Jason during his visit. The company was achieving its best performance ever this year, and I had no intentions of shutting it down whatsoever. Moreover, there was another thing that struck me about Jason's story. Hey, what's this about a new bank account? Indeed, Jason hasn't opened a new bank account since he was born. And I've been depositing $1,000 into the same account every month. I had a bad feeling. Jason, let's go to the police. The police? Why? The money I've been sending to Jason, someone might have stolen it. When I said that, Jason's eyes widened in disbelief. But soon, he seemed to ponder if he had any leads. Could it be? Jason's suspicion might indeed be correct. I felt pain in my heart, thinking about the hurt that might be awaiting Jason in the future. However, someone has to take responsibility for doing this to Jason. Driver, please take us to the nearest police station. With my request, the taxi started moving. The taxi driver, who overheard our conversation, kindly drove us to the largest police station in the city. Upon arriving at the police station, I supported Jason as we entered. Jason, once a member of a sports club and so diligent about his diet, with a once impressive physique, now seemed frail, perhaps even lighter than me. Tears welled up in my eyes as I supported him. A young male officer at the station listened to both our stories and offered comforting words first. "You've been strong through tough times," he said, causing Jason to break down crying. Actually, we've had similar complaints from student dormitories in this area. Really, according to the officer, in the past month, about 3 families have come forward with complaints similar to ours. And all of them were pointing to one individual as the culprit. "Isn't that individual, by any chance, someone named Lucas?" The police sighed at my words and nodded. Jason was looking down next to me. Perhaps, even though he had suspicions, he wished deep down that it wasn't true. I placed my hand on Jason's back and looked at the officer. "Is an investigation underway?" The officer pondered for a moment and then guided Jason and me to a separate room. He asked us to submit a report on the damages we faced. Of course, I agreed and immediately filled out the report. Once the report was submitted, the person in charge informed us about the current state of the investigation. Lucas played a role similar to a contact person. He befriended the victims, obtained their bank account details and PINs, and then withdrew their money. The person receiving the money, they believed, was a specific man. Looking at the provided photo, I jumped up in surprise. "I know this man." Or what? The police were equally shocked, their eyes wide as they looked at me. I took a deep breath to calm my racing heart and began to explain about the man in the photo. "This is Liam, right? He's my ex-husband and Jason's father." "Wait, my dad?" "Yes, the man in the photo was Liam, my ex-husband. The reasons for our divorce involved financial issues and affairs with other women. After the divorce, I lost contact with him and never received any child support. However, I believed it was better for Jason not to have any bad influence from him. So I never tried to track Liam's whereabouts after that. But I never imagined he would be involved in something that would lead to police intervention." I felt the blood drain from my face. So, Jason was deceived out of his money by both a close friend and his biological father. Jason stood frozen, his mouth open in shock. "Actually, we've discovered that this Liam and Lucas are father and son." "Wait, what?" I had met Lucas before, and he had mentioned he was the same age as Jason. Given the rigorous ID verification at Jason's student dormitory, that was likely true. But if that was the case, it meant that Liam had another woman pregnant at the same time as me, which would be an affair. Though I no longer held any feelings for Liam, the revelation was still shocking. And so, Lucas and I are brothers. Jason seemed overwhelmed by this unexpected revelation. I was also at a loss for words, having never anticipated such a twist. In light of this, we have a favor to ask, and of course, I'll cooperate in any way possible to catch those two. At my words, Jason gave a small nod in agreement. Following the police's instructions, we decided to play along with their plan. I discreetly sent Jason back to his dormitory and checked myself into a nearby business hotel. The next day, ensuring Lucas was present, I made a call. "Hello, how are you, Jason?" Jason, mentioning he was doing the dishes, deliberately put the call on speaker. From this, I deduced that Lucas was nearby, and I had a little unexpected income, so I'll be transferring some money into your account. Make sure to use it wisely." "Understood, thank you." With that, Jason ended the call. I stopped the IC recorder I had at hand and proceeded to transfer $8,000 into Jason's account. The next morning, armed with evidence Jason sent after verifying the bank transfer, I presented it to the police. Before heading to the dormitory, we made a brief stop. Once we arrived, we explained the situation to the dormitory's manager, who immediately led us to Lucas's room. Upon ringing the bell, we heard hurried footsteps approaching the door from inside. "Yeah, who is it? What the?" He swung the door open, only to freeze in his tracks, utterly shocked. In a place where outsiders were strictly prohibited, seeing me and the police officers must have been the last thing he expected. It was evident he was caught off guard. With a composed smile, I greeted the flustered Lucas. "Hello, Lucas. It's been a while. I'm Jason's mother." Why would Jason's mother want to see me? And with the police, too? He glanced over at Jason standing beside me and seemed to realize the nature of our visit. "We have a warrant, so we're going to conduct a search now. I have to leave now, so could we reschedule this for another time?" Without missing a beat, after hearing the officer's statement, Lucas tried to close the door forcefully. However, the police officers were prepared for this. 2 officers forcefully opened the door, initiating the search. Almost immediately after they began, voices echoed from various corners. "Found it." Lucas visibly slumped, realizing the gravity of the situation. Jason and I entered the room, leaving a deflated Lucas behind. There were multiple bank books and cards laid out on the table. All of them were under different names. My head throbbed looking at the evidence. The police officers, with practiced hands, arranged the items according to their names and started taking photographs. "How did you find out? Jason, did you set me up? I thought you were my best friend. But all along, you were mocking me internally, watching me struggle. You've got it all wrong. There's a reason for all of this." Lucas scrambled to come up with excuses, but Jason didn't react at all. Frustration marked Lucas's face, and it seemed like he was about to lash out. I stepped in. "It's pretty low to scam money from your own half-brother." "Half-brother? Who with whom?" "You and Jason." Lucas was rendered speechless by my words. Given he targeted only students, it seemed probable that he had shared the preliminary information with Liam. My family business is unique, so when Liam investigated Jason, he would have quickly realized that he's my son. Is that a lie? And it's true. Liam is my ex-husband and Jason's real father. It seems like he was cheating on me at the same time, and that's when you were born. When I said that, Lucas sat down in shock. I knew from the police investigation that Lucas had a frail sister. Soon after divorcing me, Liam quickly married his then-mistress. But I heard that she didn't want a boy, and he was left to grow up neglected. Soon after the sister was born, Liam and his mistress divorced. The sister was taken in by her maternal family due to the cost of her treatment. And it seems Lucas was taken in by Liam. They seem to have met regularly as siblings, and during those times, Lucas gave money to their mother for treatment. Hearing this, I felt the strong bond between the siblings and Lucas. And it seemed my assumptions were correct. Did I exploit my own sibling? With those words, Lucas was taken away by the police. Jason and I went straight to the police station and were shown only our share from the confiscated bank book. Apparently, Lucas would get people drunk, go shopping with them, and check their ATM pin, then go to their room and steal their bank book, card, and ID. He would go home with them during the open holiday to check if their family was wealthy. Then, he would create a new bank account, give it to them, and when money entered the original account, he would withdraw all of it and only deposit a little into the new account. No wonder every time I updated the bank book, I couldn't see what the money was used for. I sighed upon realizing the reason. It seems Lucas quickly gave up Liam's name as an accomplice, and I was informed the next evening that Liam was also arrested. I went to the police and shared all I knew about Liam's past with them. After a while, I went to visit Liam. Jason wanted to come, but I asked him to wait outside this time. Meeting Liam after 20 years, he looked older, but his condescending attitude was still there. "Man, I went too far." Liam, without any remorse, made this comment, and I had to control my anger. I forced a smile. Pathetic. Lost it all in horse racing. I'll contact my parents soon and get out of here. Liam responded casually. I slapped a piece of paper in front of him. His expression changed immediately. "Hey, what is this?" "Oh, I told your parents everything about you." Even after divorcing Liam, I kept in touch with his sensible parents. They felt guilty and hadn't met Jason, but kept me updated with photos. When I told them I was meeting you today, they asked me to give you this. Do you realize what this is? It says disownment. Liam approached me aggressively through the glass. I calmly responded, "To you, who ran away, you won't understand their struggles." They wanted to meet their grandson, Jason, but they waited until your mess was settled. You should have let them meet. You, who kept running away, shouldn't say that. A police officer in the room told me to calm down. I took a deep breath to calm myself. Anyway, I can now introduce them to their grandson. Oh, about Lucas. What about Lucas? He has nothing to do with you, right? They said they never want to see you again. They don't want anything to do with a father who exploits their half-siblings. The mother-in-law said she'd take them in. What? How am I supposed to live without them? I couldn't help but laugh at how pitiful he sounded. Maybe you should work and pay for damages, shouldn't you? Catherine, are we close? Help me out. No, please. Our relationship ended 20 years ago. His face displayed sheer despair upon hearing her reply, which was accompanied by her brightest smile of the day. Without heeding his plea, I left the visitation room. Afterward, more of his crimes were revealed, and he was sentenced to prison. We were relieved, as it said he won't be released for at least 5 years. The boy, being a minor, was put under probation. He's now being strictly disciplined by his grandparents. The grandparents live deep in the mountains, where there are no forms of entertainment. The boy seems to be struggling. By the way, the younger sister plans to undergo surgery overseas. The reason the boy was desperately collecting money was for her operation. However, the man had been spending that money. He seems to still seek pleasure, but every time he does, he's reprimanded by the grandparents. Jason was initially confused, but has since been studying hard to become a doctor. His grades are steadily improving, and he's approaching the time for the national exam. As for me, the company has grown even more, and I've been able to send more money to Jason. Moreover, someone who has been supporting the company alongside me suddenly proposed to me. I'm currently holding off on giving an answer. By the way, Jason seems to have suggested the proposal. He has been attached to this person since he was a child. Jason apparently advised, it's better to get married than just dating. I was somewhat impressed, thinking he knows my character so well. However, next year, with Jason's practical training and exams, expenses will increase. For now, I'm thinking of supporting Jason in his journey to become a doctor. And then I'll consider other things in the future.